Hello and welcome to Intersection Chats. I am Reme Mancera, a personal brand story strategist, and I'm here with.
I'm Paige Burns, and I am the founder and creative director of Main Page Media. We do full service video production.
So, we are going to talk about the point of connection between personal brand story and video storytelling. So, let's start.
Ready?
Based on your own experience, how do you think personal brand story and video storytelling are connected? How do you think they affect each other?
Yeah. I could just go on for a really long time because I think there is a really obvious connection, right? I think it's pretty clear that if you have a strong personal brand story, sharing that on video and using video to help get that story out there and to use that story for all the wonderful ways that you guide your clients to use their story, video is one of the most powerful ways they can do it, right?
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. How it they are like feeding each other and helping
Yeah.
each other because it's like personal brand story can help you build trust, and if you do that through video, it's going to amplify that, like the connection that you create and the trust that you build. I feel that this, if you use video for doing that, is really amplifying the impact. And the other way around, if you are doing video, it's good, but if you use storytelling, if you use the personal brand story specifically, will help you to highlight the benefits that you offer and the things that you are, like the value that you are providing. So I think they really work well with each other.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think that if you're, going down the route of creating video for your brand, first working with someone like you and knowing what your brand story is, especially if you are building on your personal brand and not just, the brand of the business, if you're a service provider or you're doing something that is like an intangible good, right? It's not product based. Even products have personal brand stories from the founders, but if really where it depends on that, like, coaching service providers kind of space that folks can be in, that personal brand is so important. You could just create a video being like, here's our offer, here's what we do, and here's what it looks like, but without having that personal connection, it's not going to resonate nearly as strongly. And so yeah, having them really feed one another is crucial. I mean, my best clients are people that have worked with someone like you before getting on camera. Like, they really know what that brand is and what that voice is.
Nice. And I totally agree on the how helpful it is, especially for service providers, because when you don't have something tangible, it's so useful to use storytelling as a way to illustrate what you mean and to even to share the nuance, because of course there could be more people offering similar services or similar offers, but then when you add that personal aspect, is going to help you to again highlight the differentiation that you bring. I'm really curious to know how is that, because I know that you help people creating their video brands. How the process is different when they have already worked on their personal brand story or they haven't. How the process is different for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think that when someone can come in to our initial planning session and they know what their story is and they know what they want to tell, it helps us really expedite past that discovery phase and that digging phase. Like, I do that with my clients. I know you and I kind of bonded over that, like trying to get that story out of people. I do that with my clients, but the ones that come and they already know it and it's in their bones and they're comfortable talking about it, maybe they've written about it, maybe they've spoken on a stage about it, whatever it is, where they know it to their core, then we can kind of skip past that. I still want to learn it all, but we can skip past that and get so much more creative of how we tell it, right? Because our time together is limited. And so, especially when it comes to small business owners, it's like our budgets are limited. We can't just be in the development phase forever. And a lot of times people have deadlines they're trying to meet where it's like, I need this video for this specific purpose. So, time in and of itself, even if you do have a never ending budget, is limited. And so, if we can skip past that phase of like, just tell me what it is, I want to make sure I understand it. Like, as closely as I can in my bones, as you know it in your bones, which is, not possible, but as close as I can get. Then we can get into, okay, what are the creative ways we can tell this faster?
Mm.
And if we can get there
Mhm.
faster, we can have a better end product. We can start thinking about, are there places we want to go? Are there props we want to showcase? As opposed to just like, we really need to work on getting you to say this the right way. And
Mm.
we can do that, but it limits us a little bit, right? So the end product is always better. And I will also say that people who have done the work ahead of time for their brand strategy, their personal brand, their brand story, all of that, they've, really thought about what they want to say ahead of time, are more likely when they invest in that first video to use that video for a long time. Because if
Mm.
you're just kind of like, I've started this business and I think I know what I want to talk about, and so I'm going to put it on video. I've seen that happen, and there's a layer of confidence in the, I want to create this and I want to put it on video. That's why they've decided to go for video. But because they haven't done that deep work to really define it, a year later, they might be like, everything's kind of changed and I don't really want to talk about that anymore. And I mean, that's just business, right? That's just like
Yeah.
when you're in the early stages, things change. Your messaging is always going to change. But I do find when someone is like very grounded in that personal brand story, that asset you're creating lasts a lot longer. It's the same with, photography. Not that that's a service that I offer, but I see it the same with photography. When people really think about, like, even myself, I've done this, where I've done brand photo shoots and I'm like, that's not like, I didn't really think about like what I wanted these photos to say. I just thought, oh, I want
Mm.
them to look nice and I want to like have a camera near me, right? And then when I finally like did that kind of work and was thinking about, well, what is it that I want these visuals to say about me? Those photos were a whole different photo shoot, right? I know photo's not what we're talking about, but there's an alignment there
Yeah.
where when you know it, it's easier to then tell your creative director in whatever space so that they can help translate it into whatever creative medium.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that basically it's like you are more strategic about it. You are more intentional about this, because with pictures and videos, it's like, it's an asset for my business. It's going to help my business. But if you are intentional before actually putting the work into this, it's going to be more valuable for you, for your business, and for your audience. And also, I think that when you have clarity and you combine that with strategy, so you are intentional, you know why you are doing this, and for what, it's like that will bring more confidence when you are sharing.
Mhm.
Because I see that when working with clients, it's like I work with them, instead of looking for one story, I look for 10 meaningful
Yeah.
moments. I call them story connectors. So when we are working around that, and they know exactly why they are choosing a specific moment and not other, and they know how it's connected to their offer, it's like they are so much confident to share about that, because they know why they are choosing that specific one, and it's not randomly because someone said to them, you need to share your story, but they have thought about that. And back to what you said, you can be more creative because you have done the foundational work. Now you can play and you can do more creative stuff with the part that is about video, about the creativity. And this is something that I love to do, like searching for creative ways to use your story. So maybe later in this call, we can think about different ways that they can use video and storytelling. But yeah, back to the idea of the how business evolve. This is something interesting to me, because I work with a lot of people that they are in a pivotal moment. So yeah, business, as humans, we evolve, so we
Right.
change, we are not the same. And I don't know for you, but for me, having a business has been really a personal growth path as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I always say I'm a different person than I was before I started this business.
so it's going to evolve. You are going to your business is going to evolve, especially personal brands. We are the face of our businesses, and that will reflect in that. So for that reason, I think it's really important to think about something like creating a brand video. Think about this
Mhm.
before, like, where are you in your business? What is the intention for that? Where are you going to use it? Is that when I work with the clients, is something similar. We are thinking about where they are using their story, if they are going to podcast as a guest, if they want to be like using more the storytelling when they are introducing themselves, or when they are doing content through video or any of the other. So it's like being intentional, also like practicing how to share your story. It's not the
Right.
same if it's the first time, if you are confident sharing it. So doing that before going to the point to record a video like this, that is something that you are investing time and effort and money to do it, is like, okay, take it seriously in the sense of do the best, get the most out of it in the best
Right.
way, in the right sense, right?
Yeah, and one of like the most, I think, magical, even though it seems obvious, but I think it's a mindset shift. Like one of the most magical things video can do for you is you can duplicate yourself. Like you
Mhm.
can, you maybe you've gotten really confident in telling these stories, like you said, when you're introducing yourself to someone in a networking event or in a conversation or on a stage or on a podcast. You can only, I mean, podcast is also you can duplicate yourself, but like the in-person experience, the one-on-one experience that you're having is so valuable, and there's nothing can beat a one-on-one experience. Nothing can beat in person. But I think video is the closest thing you can really get to meeting someone in real life. You have the visual component and the auditory component. You're able to share this video, of you with your mannerisms, with your energy, with the way that you speak, the words that you're saying, the visuals you want to show. And that can be, people can be getting to know you while you're at the beach, right? Like you don't have to be there, which is really cool. And it seems so simple when I say it, but if you think about it that way, where it's like, I've done all this work to figure out my personal brand story. I've done all this work to figure out what I want my brand to stand for and what I want it to be. Is there a way that I can like, okay, let's just like put all that work together? And a lot of times, especially for my service-based clients, it is this like video brand story where they're like, all right, I'm ready to kind of like put my stamp, you know, into this video and into something that can be evergreen and can be used over and over again, so that I don't have to constantly say it to everyone, right? And I
Mhm.
can, before I even get on a call with someone, I can share that video with them and they can know what I'm about.
Yeah.
It gives them this opportunity to meet you before they even meet you, which I think is pretty cool when it's done right. But doing that
Yeah.
work ahead of time is so important for it to be done right. I see a lot of people that like are just trying to, create something on their own or on the fly, and they script something maybe using AI, and then they read it in a teleprompter and they're just like looking into their webcam reading something from a teleprompter, and I'm like, that's not you. You are not that boring person. Like you are so cool. Yet what we're seeing is this like dried up version of you. And so if you can get that brand story and then work with a creative team that helps you share it the way that you would share it in person, and it's just massive. And then there's the added, there's actually this theory, that the dual coding learning theory, which is actually, it's been studied and it's used a lot for kids with learning disabilities. But essentially what the studies have shown is that like your brain, and if anyone out there is like a neuroscientist, correct me if I'm wrong, but the brain is processing visuals and audio separately, but they are like collaborating with one another. And so
Okay.
you are, when you watch a video and you see it and you hear it, you are more likely to remember it. And then we know that people are more likely to remember stories than they are to remember just a list of facts or just straight information. So you meld all those things together and like you kind of become unforgettable if you do a great job at it.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the idea of how this is a work that is helping duplicate yourself in a sense. But it's for sure that when I think about myself as a uh, using someone else's services, or researching before buying from provider or something like that, I know for sure that I will go and check if I can at least listen to them. I want to hear their voice. And yeah, the best is if I can see a video or something where, as you say, I can see how they move, the way that they talk. All of that is like, I don't know, it's like having a sense of them as a person. It gives me more, like, I don't know, more information, more context to see, like, okay, I want keep looking at this person, or I'm not
1,000%.
sure. So, and this just having a video, a short video, doesn't need to be like I am not watching. It's just looking for somewhere when I can have the feeling of the experience of talking to that person. So totally agree on that aspect of getting a bit of more about the person by seeing them talking, or seeing them on video. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it helps you to qualify your leads, right?
Yeah.
So, you're looking to maybe work with someone and then you're looking for more information on them. If you watch a video of that person and you're like, oh, like they seem really cool, or they seem really kind, or they just like, they seem really comfortable to talk to you. Or if you watch a video with someone, you're like, that person's energy, like I just know I'm not going to jive with them, which is not a bad thing. We want to repel those clients as well. Even if you or I, like if someone watches my video and they're like, I don't think I'm going to jive with her, I'm like, excellent, please do not hire me,
Yeah.
right? Like if we're not going to energetically be a good fit, and I know that sounds kind of woo woo, but like if our personalities aren't going to mesh well enough for us to work together, or if you're going to find the way I speak annoying, or if you're going to find like I have like kind of a casual vibe when I'm with my clients, and if you want someone who's super buttoned up, like now granted, obviously if we go into corporate, I can literally button up, but my personality is still going to be what my personality is, right? And so that opportunity to not only for us as a buyer to get to know a service provider, but for the service provider to be getting better clients who already feel like, oh, I really like her,
Yeah.
right? Like that is huge when you then go into the, okay, here's the price. They already like you. Like that is massive.
Yeah. And to your point, it's not that it's a bad way, a better way, or a worse way. Is that it's good that they know what you are about, because for some people it will be more important to have as I don't know, something that you are buying as a service. I want it fast, or no, I prefer that it's super structured, or no, I prefer more flexibility, or I prefer someone is super focused in creativity, or out of the box, or luxury feeling. So any of the above, none of them are negative. It's just that your focus is one or another, and that's why I highlight, and this is one of the categories of the story connectors, is like your unique approach to work,
Mm,
because it's like even if two people are offering the same service, you will have an approach that is different from someone else. So
right.
highlight that and use the story to point out that specificity. So again, it's not that it's something worse or bad, or no, it's just something that you are, it's your way of seeing this work, and you, something is important to you, and for a reason you focus your work in a way. For
Right.
example, I do these 10 story connectors because I remember being overwhelmed by the idea of not having a big epic story to share. So I'm having clients coming with this thought, and it's like, okay, I need to find a way to split this into smaller pieces and be like more manageable and more digestible. And that's where I started doing this. So for someone else, they might prefer other approach, and it's totally okay. It's just you look for what makes sense for you. So back to the idea of how you can use video to show that, to your show your personality and what you are about.
Right. Right. And when I think too, I love that you mentioned that people get hung up on having this like big story, right? Like I will have people say that sometimes they're like, oh, like we want to tell, the story of our brand, but sometimes they'll be like, oh, but we don't really have any kind of like big story to tell. And it's like, you don't have to have a big story to tell. It doesn't have to be this huge story. Frankly, I don't have a huge story to tell. It wasn't like, oh, some major life changing thing happened that made me start this business. There's a million little things that happened in my life that led me to where I am today. And some of them are, that customer centric why that we all want to share, which everyone's, oh, I want to help people do this, that, and the other thing. But like a lot of them are freaking selfish. Like I love being creative, and like I wanted to do that for a living since I was little. Like I was like, can I make creativity my job? Like, but that I think if I heard that from someone, and you have to kind of step yourself out, right? Like if I heard that from someone who I was hiring for a creative service, I'd be thrilled. I'd be like, oh, so you really love this. Like you really love thinking in different ways and you're going to do that for me. And so it doesn't have to be this like big moment. It's just, can we dig up these things that are true to you, are authentic to you, that other people will resonate, right? I've
Yeah.
worked with people that are in like boring industries. I actually worked with a guy who had an insurance company once. And I was like, all right, well, this guy have a story, because a lot of people get into insurance just because it's a job. It can be lucrative. Nobody's passionate about insurance. I mean, sorry for anyone in the insurance industry who's really passionate about insurance, but most folks who I've talked to, it's not about the insurance. It's more about the people that they get to work with. And a story he told me, he was like, well, I mean, this wasn't why I started, but when I started, and in those first few years, I was actually able to hand a family who had like unexpectedly lost a loved one a check, like the life insurance check, knowing that they were going to be okay in this time of trauma and this time of loss that was really unexpected. And knowing that just like this business I've built and the connection I made with them enabled them to get a good life insurance policy and be able to move forward with, planning all of the services and all of the costs that come with death, which is wild that death costs money, but it does. And then be able to continue to support themselves, right? He told me that story and I was like, we're telling that on camera, right?
Mm.
Like it's not why you started, but it's what keeps you going, is like
Yeah.
seeing these things, is you saw this and you're like, oh, I actually am making an impact, right? So like I started, and there's, again, like I said, a million reasons, but one of it is just I love to be creative. But then when I get to do that for people and I see what that does for them, that keeps me going forward with this modality of my creativity, right?
Yeah, I love that you shared that, because it's like I think that when you stay with some role, there's something that you are interested in, that, because otherwise there are more roles that could be about earning an income, but
Right.
for some reason you are stick to some. And for example, this person, if you go to through your through their path, I'm sure there might be some other story where they care about someone in a difficult situation, and this is something that has been in his life before. So this is something that is showing how he cares for others, and is using these kind of stories to highlight that. I like to also focus on, okay, what are skills that is valuable for your clients. For example, your creativity. This is not just because of the work that you do. It's like the other way around. You are doing this work because you are a creative person. And for me, I love stories. I told the story when I got the library card, because they opened this public library in my neighborhood, and I was fascinated. I was so happy about all the stories that I will go the chance to read and all that. And I feel super lucky to be working around stories and helping my clients how to use their personal stories to amplify the impact that they are having. So totally, there is this common thread that we can look at our lives, and again, doesn't need to be epic, but
Right.
we can choose meaningful moments, and meaningful in the sense that this they are providing context about who we are, why this work is important to us, and why it matters for us to work around a certain group of people and helping them. So yeah, I love that example of the insurance, because there are certain roles or activities that it feels like, okay, how we are bringing some personality here, especially with something that is like a lot of people might be offering similar services because it's something structural.
Right. Right. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be this like crazy unique thing, but it's why you, right? Why am I going
Yeah,
to work with you for this one thing where I could go to a million other people?
yeah,
And how can you show people that what you're doing isn't just to make a living, even if that's your number one, is like, I want to support my family and I'm trying to make a living here, but like, why are you the one to do it? Is it because of the way you think, because of, like you were saying, like the way you approach things? Is it because of the way that you interact with people, right? Like it doesn't have to be because like there was this crazy pivot moment in your life that led you down this path of like inspiration. It could just be like what drives you. We're all human at the end of the
yeah.
day. And so we all have something that drives us, and that leads us to bring the best quality service that we possibly can to our clients.
Yeah. Yeah. When I work around personal brand strategy foundations, one of the things is the why you are doing the work that you do. And I like to do like two types, like internal reasons and external reasons. So you will have internal reasons related to your lifestyle that you want to achieve or anything. And then you will have external reason why you want to do this work specifically. And because I think that usually there is a combination of both while
Yeah.
you're doing certain thing and not others. So yeah.
I do the same with my clients when I go through one of the offers we have is a video brand story. And so that's typically like the founder's story. We go through, they get this like 2 to 3 minute video for their website, their socials. It's kind of their just like their featured video, right? And the process that I kind of go through is the who, why, what, and how. And the why is my favorite part because I'm a big believer as a filmmaker in evoking emotion and creating connection beyond just like pretty pictures and like getting info out there. Like I think that that emotional connection is one of the most powerful things video can do. Aside from that, when I go into the why with people in their strategy session, I ask them the same exact thing. I say, what is your customer centric why? And what
Mhm.
is your personal why? Because they're different. They're totally different things. And I want to know both. And then we'll figure out, is there a way in this one video that we tie in one or the other? Which one's going to be more powerful? How do we maybe connect the two of them? Like you said, there's usually a common thread to tell that story. I think that it can be like not transparent when you're only talking about that customer centric why. If you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I just do this because I just want to help people. And it's like, is that really the only reason that you're doing this? Because there's a million things you could do to help people, right? Why
Yeah.
is it this thing? And that's fun to uncover because when you're not doing the thing that you're doing, when you're not a personal brand story strategist, or when you're not a video producer, or you're not the insurance agent, right? When you're not doing that thing and you're just an outsider, it's not as obvious as it feels to us. I think that's something that's really interesting too. When like I'm working with my clients, they're like, oh, well, like, of course, like I'm a physical therapist because I want to help people. And it's like, but why physical therapy? And to them, it feels obvious. It's like, oh, because like if your body hurts or if you can't do the things you want to do every day of your life and blah, 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 blah. But like to the rest of us, and I'm saying blah, 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 because I don't know, I'm not a physical therapist, but like it's not obvious to the people that don't live it every day. And I
Yeah.
think that's something people get afraid to tell their story because it feels obvious to them. And it's like, can you take that 50,000 foot view and actually look back down on it and tell me what you see? And that's
Mm.
difficult. It's not easy work, which is why people, need you before they come to me, and then I can kind of help them understand it in a visual capacity, right?
Yeah, I think that's a huge point. How sometimes we are so in our own stories that we overlook things that can
Yeah.
be interesting to share. And I have an example of a client of mine. She was not sure. She's a copywriter for fashion brands, and she was not sharing that she was growing up in a family of tailor because her mom was a tailor, her grandpa was a tailor, but for her was so natural. And she was looking for stories related to writing, and she didn't mention that. And that was super eye-opening to me because it's like, okay, if she has overlooked this, and there is a super visual story around that, so it's like this is more powerful than I have thought before.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And back to the idea of the, I want to, before we wrap up, because I want to mention this. I love how you use your brand video story, and how you incorporate, for example, in your signature, in your email, and other places. I love repurposing an asset. So tell me a bit more about this idea of how you can, it's not just for your About Me page, and how you can use this uh, video in different ways and different spaces.
Yeah, definitely. So, whenever we create those videos for clients, we always give them an implementation guide, and in that guide, it's telling them all the different places they can share it, and also recommending pages that could be on their website. And in that, we're always highlighting. We're going through your website and taking a look at like where are decisions being made. I think people get really hung up on, oh, this is just supposed to be on the About Me page, but it's like well, what are you specifically talking about in this video? Because maybe it should be on your services page as well. Maybe it
Yeah.
should be on your homepage as well. Maybe it should land on this like key offer that you talk about in the video. You tell your story and it leads to that key offer. Yeah, you might have like these other little offers, but that primary offer, maybe it should be on that sales page. And not saying it should only be on one of those. It should be on all of those. Because if you were to look at your analytics and see where people are clicking, they are not clicking on every single page. And so you want to give people the opportunity to watch. So that's just one with websites. Then, of course, there's social media. You should be sharing these videos on your social media. I usually tell people if you're going to invest in a professionally produced video about your brand, pin it to the top of your social media pages, put it in the featured section of your LinkedIn, pin it to your Facebook page, like put it everywhere and put it first and foremost. I put mine in my email signature. I always tell my clients to put in their email signature. Repurposing and reposting is huge because algorithms don't just like, you can't just like post a video and then it's going to show all of your followers. You could repost a video probably once a month if you really wanted to, and new people would see it every single time. Not only are you connecting with new people and growing your audience, but there's just people that weren't online that day. It didn't end up in their news feed that day, right? And so repurposing in that sense. And then, of course, there's kind of the added, if you're creating this like 2 to 3 minute video, and the way that we approach it is interview style, so we're asking you a lot of questions. I always tell my clients, like, we're going to talk for like 30 minutes and we're going to take the best 2 and put that into your video. But like maybe there was a story you left on the cutting room floor. Can we repurpose that into a shorter social media video?
Mm.
Is this 2 to 3 minute video that you're creating, can this be cut into maybe 3 different 30-second videos that you can use in different ways? You can use them in ads. You can use them to promote specific offers. Did we shoot B-roll that day of you in your element, in your office with your clients, wherever it is, that you can now use for Instagram Reels, or you could now use as the banner video on your website? Like there's just so many different ways that you can really like work with content. And it doesn't even have to be a professionally produced thing. I think about even something like this, where if you're doing a live stream with someone, are there moments from that you could chop up and use as short form content, right? Are there moments from when you speak on a stage, if someone recorded it, like some events, they'll record it for you and send it to you, and then it just sits there. It's like, well, okay, well, is there a soundbite from this that you could pull and use it for something? So there's just so many different ways that, like, if you're taking the time and making the investment to be using these things, even if you don't have the investment to, get 100 different videos, how can you just use that one across platforms, use them in email newsletters, like statistically, and I'm not great at quoting statistics because they're all different and I don't necessarily like have sources for all of them, but statistically across the board, I have seen that emails with the word video in the subject line have a higher open rate. And
Mm.
so when you think about these things, it's like, it doesn't have to just be a one and done. And I know it's the same as what you tell your clients on like the ways to use these 10 stories you give them is like countless.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a different story every time.
Yes. And it's like this so important, like how you can share the same story in different ways. Could be different formats, but also different angles that you are sharing the same story from different points and starting in one or in the middle of the scene or after that and going from the key factor of your offering to the story and the other way around and all that. And then using that video and that video storytelling is a skill. So whenever your clients go and do the work with you after that, I'm sure if they go to a podcast interview, if they are going to record by themselves, they are going to use that storytelling to go and share it again. And that's a skill that you are building on yourself, and is so important as a personal brand. And how later you can use that skill, let's say if you are going to a summit and participating there, how you can talk about what you know, but including some elements of your story as a way to build that presence and that trust. Or if you are even in your sales call, if you are doing a clarity call to validate
Mhm.
if you are a good fit for each other, you can use your stories there. I have seen how clients of mine, they are using even in referral to talk about their, if they are a good fit for referral partnerships. When you are doing onboarding processes, let's say I work a lot with service providers, and sometimes they are going to record some kind of tutorial or video to explain something to their clients. Again, when you have this skill of video storytelling, will be powerful in all the different aspects of your business. So, and the idea of using videos in your newsletter, or if you are sending a proposal, how you can use a short video to go through that. So there is a lot of different moments in the relationship with our potential customers and our existing customers, how for loyalty we can have some actions around there, and how we can use videos as a way to get closer to them, but we don't have the capacity to have one-on-one conversation, so
Right.
let's use videos for that. So there are so many different spaces that we can use that, and leverage for that, because it's not one time. It's like,
Right.
I feel that the lack of repetition is one of the bigger mistakes around personal brand stories. So I love that you bring that, how you can use this, even the same exact video, you can repurpose and use it later. So imagine if you are using different ones, but yes, even the same one, you can share it again. I am doing that at the moment, doing
Mhm.
a campaign, let's say, where I am just sharing a series of videos that I did in 2024, and I am doing with an intention. I am adding this line saying that I am repurposing this because I want to normalize that. I want to see as something that we are allowed. We can do that. It's not that it's like, I am sure even if some of my audience saw this, they are not complaining about, oh, she's again 1 year
Right.
later sharing the same.
Like, never, absolutely not. And you can change up, like, sharing that same video, like you said, you're writing that you're reposting it, and you're, like, giving people that kind of confidence boost. Like, you can reuse a video, and what you write about that video can be different. The way you talk about that
Yeah.
video can be different. Like, you could stick that video at the end of an email and be like, that email might have been about one thing, and then you can say, see how we, see some examples of our work in progress in this video. Whereas the next time you say, here our founder's story, like, it's the same video, but, like, you get to see what it looks like to work with that person, and you get to hear the story in both of those videos. Like, people aren't always going to click. They're not always going to watch. And so the way you present things can also really impact if that's going to resonate with someone and connect with someone for them to watch. And I
Yeah.
think too that know, like, and trust factor, right? Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
is so huge with storytelling. We storytell in every asset of our lives. Like, you go to a cookout and you meet friends, like, all you're doing is telling each other stories, right?
Mhm.
Someone asks a question, you relate to it in some way. I mean, literally, like, I was at a cookout yesterday, and the things we talked about, it was like, oh, I have to go to this bachelorette party. Oh, I went there one time. Here's an activity we did. Let me tell you all about it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my friend did that once before. She does this. And literally is a snowball of
Yeah.
storytelling. And so
Yeah.
why wouldn't you act the same way in your business? Because at the end of the day, we're just people trying to sell stuff the same way we are just people trying to meet people at a cookout.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we wrap up, I will like to give you the opportunity to maybe share something that we haven't covered on video storytelling, or how you use video storytelling in your work, and you think we might mention before finishing this conversation.
What an open-ended question, because I could go on and on and on. Um, I think that something that maybe we haven't touched on is that a lot of people are hesitant to use video. And they're hearing this and they're like, yeah, that all sounds great, but it also sounds scary, or I'm gonna be bad at it, or I don't like the way I look. And there are ways to work around literally all of those things. I would say that one of the biggest thing for anyone who is watching this who's like, okay, I want to try to tell my story on camera, is to just start doing it. And I know that that's the most simplistic piece of advice I could give anyone, but try recording it yourself. You don't even have to share it, but just start doing it to get comfortable. Like you were saying, the more you tell your story to people, the more natural it's going to become to bring it up in conversation. It's the same with video. I often tell people, like, if Instagram's a platform you're using for your business, start with an Instagram story. It's going to expire in 24 hours. Like, can you live with it for 24 hours? Like, give that a try. It doesn't have to be polished. It can be selfie style. You can do a walk and talk, whatever you want. You can hold your dog while you're at it for, emotional support. It doesn't have to be this big thing. But I personally am also uncomfortable being on video. It might not seem that way because I'm on video right now, but when I'm recording something, I get nervous. I mess up. Like, I just shot a whole bunch of videos for my own brand the other day, and I literally got the butterflies on my drive to the studio. And I was working with myself and my employee. So I get it. But I think the more you practice, the easier it gets. And the more you see the way that people relate to it,
Yeah.
the easier you're going to be like, oh, so I didn't sound stupid, or I didn't look weird, or this wasn't embarrassing because somebody asked a follow-up question. Somebody said, this is a great video, or somebody said, I never knew this about you, and I'm so glad I know this now. That relief you'll get from just doing the damn thing, I think is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. And I will add, try to help yourself. For example, myself, when I am recording, I know that I overthink, I then try to over edit and so on. So that is one of the reasons why I started this series, because here I am just focused on the conversation with my amazing guests, and I am so just into talking to you. So I am not overthinking how I look, how I'm putting my phrases together, and so on. So I know that. So I am using that in my favor to create content, so quote unquote.
Yeah.
And because it's like, yeah, this is something valuable, explaining how I work, what is my approach. But if I do by myself, will be first less interesting. And second is like, this helping what is natural to me. So that will be my advice as well. And I have heard someone that said, start by recording yourself doing something even totally unrelated to your work, like if you cook, so just tell the recipe while cooking, or if you like to do gardening, do something explaining to that. So, or when you are getting ready, just start recording to get used to be in front of the camera talking about something. And then
Yep.
you can practice, as you said, like, just even if you don't share, just the practicing will help you. And then, yeah, just see which other way around you can use, as having a conversation with someone, and then you are sharing your story to them, so you are just focusing on them to understand your story and what you are telling this. So try to work in your favor. That's
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And I tell people that same thing. I'm like, narrate while you're cooking. You don't have to show it to anyone. Fold the laundry and talk about your day. You don't have to show it to anyone. But talking at an object is weird, especially if you're trying to create your own content. And that's a huge
yeah.
reason why the majority of the work that I do with my clients is interview style, where it's I'm off camera prompting them with questions. That's not in the end video. You're not hearing me. It's not my business, but I'm making it a conversation and trying to honestly distract from the fact that, yeah, we've got cameras and lights and a microphone's hanging over your face and you've got all this stuff going on around you. It's like, let's just chat. Tell me what's going on, because you can chat about your business. You do it all the time.
Yeah, yeah, and I have seen some of the samples that you share from your clients, and I can see how it feels natural. They are just confidently talking. So I love that style because it feels like, again, this conversational mood is bringing more natural. That if you are, even if you have a teleprompter or anything, it's not as natural as you
Right.
talking to another person. So I love that style. Yeah. So to finish, do you have, like, let's say 1, 2, 3 words to explain the power of this connection between personal brand story and video storytelling? What would you say?
Hmm. It's funny because you said to explain the power of this connection, and I was like, the word I want to say is connection.
Hmm.
And I think it's a multifaceted word I want to use, because not only are our two industries so interconnected, but also using these two modalities is how you build connection with your audience and with
Yeah.
prospects. So I guess I'll just double down on the word connection, because that's really what's living in me right now.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. I totally agree. I would say amplification, because I
Mm,
feel that it amplifies when they are working together and you are using that for your business. So it will amplify both of the
I love
sides.
that.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for
Thank
being here,
you.
for having this conversation. Have loved it, and thank you to everyone that has joined us. So they will have our links somewhere near us in the description, and just feel free to reach out to Paige and learn more about what she does. And or if you are curious about the story connectors, go and check it out and see what they do. Yeah, feel free to also leave comments if you have any question or something that you want to just comment from our conversation. So thank you and see you next time.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.